and welcome to Headlines Now. I'm Paloma Rao. Let's take a quick look at the national headlines. The Supreme Court says today that if they're not satisfied with the safety of the Kudankulam nuclear plant, they will bring it to a halt. Congress meets its allies for the first time after Mamta quit the UPA. Sources say allies want a rollback of the LPG cap. In a huge relief to the centre, the Supreme Court rules that it's not necessary for all natural sources to be auctioned. In a new twist to the irrigation scam, an RTI activist accuses BJP President Nitin Gadkari for holding back information. With Mamta Banerjee's exit, Indian Railways looks to hike AC fares by 3% from October. In a crucial T20 World Cup encounter tomorrow against the Aussies, Dhoni will play 5 bowlers. Will he drop Sehwag or Yuvraj? And BCCI names its new selection panel head. Sandeep Patil will head the committee. The centre today assured the Supreme Court that the Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu is fully equipped to withstand Fukushima-type incidents. It also said that all mandatory clearances and licenses have been taken for the plant from relevant authorities. The Supreme Court was hearing an appeal against the Madras High Court order that allowed fuel loading at the plant. The court said today if they were not satisfied with the safety, they can bring it to a halt. The hearing in the case will resume on November the 4th. The Prime Minister and Congress President Sonia Gandhi met with key allies of the ruling coalition today for the first time since Mamta Banerjee quit the government, reducing it to a minority. Though the statement after the meeting said that all the allies have backed the Prime Minister and the Congress on the economic reform measures, sources indicate that this is not the case. Behind the scenes at today's meeting, allies were open with their unhappiness with some of the reform measures announced by the government recently. T.R. Balu of the DMK was the most forceful in his criticism, demanding a complete rollback on the cap on LPG cylinders. The NCP Sharad Pawar too asked for a reconsideration of the cap on cooking gas cylinders. The Prime Minister and Finance Minister, both of whom were at the receiving end, are believed to have stuck to their stand.
Prime Minister underlined the need for a number of measures that will ensure that there is no volatility in the rupee and that investments will continue to flow into India, as well as stimulate domestic investors so that they will also invest in the economy. Investment is the key, and that was underlined today. We reviewed the situation following the number of decisions that were announced in the last 10 days. And there was general satisfaction that many of the steps taken by government, although some of them will put a burden on the people, have been welcomed by all stakeholders as necessary and unavoidable.
The Supreme Court today clarified that it does not believe that all national resources must be auctioned. The opinion provides relief for the government, partly because it accepts that the government has the right to decide on auction. The Supreme Court has, however, said that it agrees that spectrum or airwaves for mobile network licenses must be auctioned. The country's 2 largest swindles, according to the National Auditor or CAG, were enabled because the government did not auction spectrum and coalfields. The government has been arguing that a competitive bidding process would have led to increased costs, which would have adversely impacted consumers and the industry. The Supreme Court appears today to have accepted that point of view.
I welcome today's judgment as a historic landmark judgment because it has completely clarified 3 very important points. Point number 1, and this is a very big defeat for the government, the court made it very clear that as far as spectrum is concerned, the judgment of Justice Singhvi and Justice Ganguly is final and is law, and spectrum will have to be auctioned. Second, the court held that if the government at any time feels, or anyone in society feels, that maximization of revenue is a desirable objective, or to prevent private parties from making windfall profit, as you saw now, as you saw in the coal matter, then the courts have a right to intervene and say that auction is the way by which these resources should be allocated. And third, which is very, very important, they said the government does not have right to make policy without any challenge in the court. If in the court it is shown that the policy was arbitrary, unreasonable, malified or illegal, anyone can approach the court and the court can review that policy and strike it down.
What I said that 1 year ago has now been confirmed in a sense by Supreme Court by bringing clarity to this whole issue. The court has said that there is no constitutional imperative in the matter of economic policy making. In other words, you cannot strike down a policy by invoking Article 14 of the Constitution. Especially in the context of economic policy, where distribution of assets is involved.
The Supreme Court has given a judgment in its advisory capacity that the obligation to frame a policy belongs to the government, and every natural resources need not be auctioned. In public interest, government can take a different view. This legal position is quite well settled. Our elaborate comment will be given after going to the judgment.
The cabinet reshuffle that was expected to take place this week has been postponed according to sources and will now take place after the 14th of October. The reshuffle was necessitated after key ally, the Trinamool Congress, withdrew its support to the ruling coalition government, leaving many of the ministries vacant. One of the key ministries to get a new head will be the Railway Ministry, which was left vacant after TMC leader Mukul Roy quit. The current head of the Railways is Union Minister C.P. Joshi, who has taken additional charge of the ministry. Over 25,000 small and medium industries in and around the city downed their shutters today, while about 100 industrialists were arrested for attempting to lodge their protest against the 13-hour power cut and also seeking equal distribution of power across Tamil Nadu. The protesters stated that industries were facing a production loss of Rs 20 crore due to the scheduled and unscheduled power cuts every day. They insisted that the government, without any bias, should equally distribute power across the state, stating that even an additional power cut of 2 hours a day in Chennai would help meet the requirements of other industries in the state. The Supreme Court today permitted Sasikala Natarajan, a close aide of Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha, to inspect certain documents filed by the probe agency in the disproportionate assets case pending against them before a Bangalore trial court. The bench, while allowing Sasikala's plea, said that the same shall be completed within 21 days and the special court trying the offence would determine the venue. More news on the national front coming up after this short break.